Hello everyone and welcome again to On the Couch with Christine, and today we have the fabulous Tracie Morley sitting here with me, who is fresh off the set of Happy Feet 2. Remember the little penguins tap dancing around? So Tracie, are we going to be seeing more little tap dancing penguins anytime soon?
Hi Chris. Yes, we will indeed.
And what was your role, like what do you do on Happy Feet?
I play many penguins, so
yes.
I play lots of different styles of penguins. There's Adelie penguins, Magellanics, fairy penguins, what else is there? Yeah, lots of different sorts. I can't think now. Escape me, sorry.
So you've got to be like penguins. So does somebody come in and give you direction as to how to look like a penguin, or are you meant to do that yourself at home, like study DVDs of penguins?
When we started and did Happy Feet 1, we all went to penguin school. So before we even started filming any sacrificial filming, we all went to penguin school. So for about a month and a half or so, we studied penguins and studied how they walked and their characteristics and what they did, and yeah.
That sounds fascinating.
So yeah, penguin school was great.
Yeah, and who's been choreographing Happy Feet 2?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say, actually.
Oh, it's top secret, so you'll have to wait and you'll have to see. But somebody has been choreographing it.
It is top secret.
But it's top secret. Ooh,
yeah.
We might have to get you back after it's been released and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, and there are some choreographers that you can talk about. So I've noticed that you've done so many shows. Tracie's been in like nearly every musical that has ever been in Australia. So you did Sisterella, Singing in the Rain, West Side Story. There's a massive list. And in those shows I've noticed that you've done so many different roles. Some you've been a dancer, some you've been dance captain, assistant choreographer, resident director, blah blah blah. So my question is, what's your favourite hat to wear? Like, what's your favourite role to be and why?
Well, I think once a performer, always a performer. So I enjoy doing the dance captaincy role. I really enjoy doing the resident choreography role as well. I enjoy taking someone else's vision and maintaining that and keeping the integrity of the show. So it's sort of hard to, pigeonhole one area that I like to do, because I enjoy what I do. I'm one of the lucky ones, I think. I love what I do. I enjoy what I do. I've never really had a real job, as I say, but yeah, I love my job, whatever form that comes in. I love it. So.
And what advice would you have to younger people out there who are, they're sitting at home, they don't have the experience you've got, and they're thinking, oh, I wish I could get into a musical. What would be your advice to those people?
I think having a passion for what you love to do and keeping your training up and having your singing lessons, doing some acting courses, there's lots of different sort of weekend acting courses you can do, keeping your dance training up and constantly doing classes and, keeping your body fit. And I think if you have a passion and you want something bad enough, you just have to keep striving until you get what you want. And yeah, I think it comes down to having the passion to do what you want to do. So.
Okay, most recently you worked on High School Musical.
Yeah.
So how did you find that? Because that would have been a really young cast, so...
Yeah, it was. This was sort of the first show that I didn't perform in myself. I was on the other side, totally. So it was good. It was an interesting time for me. They were primarily a very young cast. Most of them first timers. In the ensemble, they were all first time showers. So it was interesting. There were lots of different facets to, being that person, dance captain, resident choreographer, resident director. I think the hardest part for me was teaching the younger kids how to understudy a role. In rehearsal, the kids learnt their role. So then they did their ensemble role, but then aside from that they had to learn another role which was completely different. So if they'd never done anything like that before, it was hard knowing that they had to remember their show, their tracking, their lines, their vocal lines, and then learning the show entirely over again in a different part. So Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed the nurturing side of it and teaching them, you know, what it's like to be in a show and how hard it is, and you know, keeping up 8 shows a week is not easy. It's tough, and you need to stay fit and you need to stay focused and you need to be on your game, and you know, you can't go out partying every night, and you have to stay really focused.
So what do you think the biggest misconception is, perhaps, that people who haven't done a show, who are young, the biggest misconception they have of the industry as a whole before they're actually part of it?
That it's a lot of hard work, and I think they just think it's all, you know, glamorous
opening
and fun
nights,
and, you
parties.
know, parties, and it's not, you know, and that's part of what my job is keeping the integrity of the show where it needs to be. The opening night should be the same as the closing night, and it shouldn't falter in between just because you've had a, you know, a big night out or whatever. It needs to stay. You need to keep your fitness and, you know, your focus on track to keep the show the way it should be from day dot. From the minute you learn your part in the show, it needs to stay, you know, where it should stay. So on a professional level. Yeah.
Okay, so that's working with young dancers, but I also noticed you've worked with some amazing actors, Glynn Nicolas, Hugh Jackman, who else? Harry Connick Jr. So what's the difference? Like, is that at all daunting working with those sort of people, or are they so professional that it's sort of, and what is the difference between working with an actor who's moving and dancing as opposed to a trained dancer?
There's lots of questions
I know.
Christine. Okay, to digress. Working with people like that on, you know, such a professional level, you can't be sort of starstruck or you know, in awe of these people. You're there to do a job, and you're there to help them do the best that they can do. And when it comes down to choreography, because they're actors, or some actors have danced, or, you know, they've had vocal training or whatever, but it's still not their area, so they are quite nervous and reserved. So you have to be on your game and not be scared of that. You have to be there and, you know, show them how it's meant to be. And so I love working with actors. Their passion is incredible because they just want to know and learn, you know, the why and the how and the when and the who and all that. So I love working with actors on shows or in film, you know. Working with Harry Connick Jr. was wonderful, you know.
And that was on South Pacific, of course.
Yeah, we worked on that in New York, and then we came back to Australia and went up to North Queensland, to Port Douglas, and shot up there for a few months, and that was wonderful. And Glynn Nicolas, she is a master, you know, she's amazing. So yeah, it's great. It can be a little daunting, but you've just got to get on with it and you know, do your job.
Now, I've noticed also, I'm just looking at my little notes here, that you also are a trained Pilates instructor.
I am, indeed.
So you've done so much. You've been all these different roles in theatre, you've done commercial dance.
Well, you know, look, a dancer's lifespan is not forever. So, you know, although I am sort of steering into the other side of you know, what we do as a dancer, and that is get into the other side, resident directing, resident choreographing, whatever. But I had been touring with a show. I was on Singing in the Rain for a couple of years, and I got back from being overseas on tour, and my body was starting to sort of pack it up, you know, doing the same show for 2 years. Just takes its toll on you. Yeah. So I got back and I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, this is what I want to do. It's what I always do. But I just needed to take time out for a minute, so I decided to go back to university and study. And hence why I wanted to do Pilates, to rehabilitate my body and then keep my body fit enough so I can, you know, dance and work as long as I can. So, yeah.
Well, having done all these things, what do you aspire to? Like, to me, it seems like you've done everything you could possibly do in the genre. So what is left?
No, there's so much more. You know, my motto is that you have to learn something every day, and if you don't learn something, then you're not achieving anything. You know, you need to learn something every single day, and there's so many more things to do. There's, you know, the rest of your life to live, and there's so many things to learn.